getting ready to lift up cars, and before we can lift a car up, we need to know how the car is constructed. So I'm going to teach you very quickly the two major types of body and frame construction that we see in cars today. The first type is the older type of construction that is still used on larger vehicles, trucks, some large vans today, full frame construction. Full frame construction consists of a vehicle that you could grab the body, lift it off, and underneath there would be something that still resembled a vehicle. A frame connecting four wheels together that we could push around and roll around on the ground. Like I said, this is the older type of frame construction that all cars originally were full frame cars. And then we've moved to something now called Unibody or unitized construction. So the two types of body construction are full frame and unibody construction. The difference between unibody and full frame is, on a unibody vehicle, that outside of the car that we would be able to lift off on a full frame vehicle is actually a structural component of the vehicle. And if you did pull the cab off or the passenger compartment off, what you would be left with is a pile of engine and transmission and wheels in the front, and another pile of wheels and axles in the back that were not connected. But enough of this boring classroom stuff. Let's go out and look at a couple examples, and we'll realize how easy it is to tell whether or not a vehicle is full frame or unibody. Well, welcome back to the 1960s. We happen to have a couple skeletons lying around campus, and that's a perfect way for us to take a look at a full frame vehicle. So here you can see full frame construction, and the body's been removed. And you can tell that if we wanted to, we could roll and push this frame around, and the front wheels and the rear wheels are still connected. All right, let's fast forward out of the 1960s and take a look at something a little more modern that's still full frame with the body attached, because this is what we're really going to be looking at when we're determining whether the car is full frame or unibody. So we got the body sitting on top of this frame. This is a full frame vehicle from the 2000s. It's a Ford Expedition. And what we're going to do is get a light and look underneath of this and see the detail or separation between the frame and the body. Okay, we're up and close and personal with this monster right here. And I want to point out a couple of the features that make this a full frame vehicle and make it easy for me to identify that it is a full frame vehicle. The first being this body mount right here. Here we can see the mount on the frame, okay, and a rubber mount right here, and then the body is mounted to the frame through this rubber mount. So if we unbolted enough of these rubber mounts right here, we could lift this body off of the frame just like we looked at that skeleton of a frame before. The other thing that I look for to determine it's a full frame is, once I find this frame rail right here, I like to look down the length of the vehicle, and that frame rail should be connecting the front of the vehicle all the way to the back of the vehicle. So this frame runs the whole length of the vehicle, connecting the front wheels to the back wheels. And if we look at the frame and the body, we can see that they are two separate pieces, and we could lift the body off of the frame. And if you're looking around, you're going to see body mounts on top of the frame connecting the body to the frame of the vehicle. So this is a great example of a modern full frame vehicle. We got a 93 Toyota Corolla here, and we're going to use this as an example of unibody or unitized construction. You see most modern cars go to unibody or unitized construction, and the difference between full frame and unitized construction is there's not that frame that we could lift the body off of and then still have a rolling carcass of a car. Okay, so this is unitized construction. This body right here, okay, makes up the structural part of this vehicle and connects the front wheels to the back wheels. So the Expedition that we looked at had a frame connecting the wheels, This vehicle, the body is the frame and the connection between the front and rear wheels. So let's get underneath of this thing and look close to find some of the landmarks that are going to let us know that this is a unitized vehicle or unibody construction. Okay, we're underneath of the Corolla, and I want to point out a couple things, all right? First, we can see this heavy metal boxed out section that does kind of look like frame material, and it is. We call this a subframe. And if we look back from the subframe, what we're going to see back here is the body, okay? This looks like a frame rail, but if we look close, okay, you're going to see that this frame rail turns right into the body here, and these are not two separate pieces of metal. There's no body mounts on them. And as we look down the body of the car, you can see that there's no frame here until we get to the very back. Here we are at the back of the Corolla, and what looks like a frame is actually another subframe in the rear. So if I look over, I can see my right rear wheel, on the other side my left rear wheel. And when we look at where the subframe connects, it's not bolted to a frame, okay? The subframe is actually bolted to the body right here. So the body is what's connecting the rear subframe all the way up to where the front subframe is right here. Okay, so no frame rail, just a boxed out section of body that's all welded together to make up a unibody.